Are we good? I'm a fitness instructor, so you got to interact with me. Are we good? Yes? Flex on them if you're okay. Good. All right. Excellent. Excellent. So before I dive into the leadership insights that I've prepared to share with you today, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself so that we can get acquainted. And I'm from Mesquite, Texas, and some of my friends growing up and now my fellow millennials would likely describe me as extra. You millennials know what I'm talking about. I don't mind standing out in a crowd, and because a picture is worth 1,000 words, I'll just start off by showing you guys a photo of me when I was 8. And so, as you can see, I don't mind going against the grain. I don't mind standing out and being a little bit different. And this kind of unconventional approach and unconventional attitude carried on with me throughout my adulthood. I chose to attend Harvard Business School, where I was one of very few African-American women in my graduating class. And after my MBA, I really wasn't sure what my career path was. So I just followed the herd, and I said, okay, I can be a banker or I can be a consultant, because that's what everyone does. And I thought a consultant was the lesser of two evils, so I became a consultant, and I worked in management consulting for a number of years, and my life was very comfortable in that point. I made good money, I had challenging work, but I didn't feel like I was being true to myself. I wasn't going against the grain like I usually do. So one day, I made a decision to quit my job. And I shocked my parents, who are here tonight, God bless them. And I became a fitness instructor. And now, today, I'm so excited to be here as a fitness instructor. And I lead a startup company in Dallas called Grit Fitness. And it's over 60 staff members that I lead, which is a huge organization, thousands of clients, multiple locations. So I just like to say I went from Misfit to Misfit. Yeah? Y'all like that? Okay, good. Yes, I like it. Awesome. So the issue is that, now that I lead a startup company, I'm just learning that there's a lot of misconceptions that we have about what it takes to be an effective leader. And a lot of the things that I had learned through textbooks and that, I was taught in corporate America actually didn't quite work for me. And it was actually better if I went against the grain and took the same unconventional approach that I've taken to my whole life, that I've taken to my career path, and if I applied that to my leadership style. So I want to share with you some of the ways that I unconventionally lead my team, and I hope that it's helpful for you if you are a leader, which we are all leaders. We are all leaders. So the first mistake we often make as leaders happens in the very beginning when we're assembling a team, right? So you try to get people with the best skills, the best talent. If you are opening a bakery, you are looking for the best cooks and the best cake decorators, right? Well, when I opened the first Grit Fitness studio, not one of my founding instructors had ever taught a fitness class before in her life. And to this day, I only hire people who don't have experience. And in the same way, Teach for America core members are new college graduates, fresh out of school, little to no teaching experience, and they get staffed and placed into low-performing, low-income schools, and in just 1 to 2 years, they're able to effectively help close the achievement gap, right? So why is it that these people who have no experience and no relevant skills are able to perform so well? Well, there is a reason. It's because they have a very strong sense of belonging. Deep down, they know that they were not hired just for their skills. They were hired because of who they are. They were hired because of their values. They were hired because of their enthusiasm. They were hired because of their genuine interest in the organization. That's why they were hired. So they feel accepted and they feel like they belong. And yes, you do have to spend extra time training these people and teaching them the skills they need, but the awesome thing about skills is that skills can be taught. What can't be taught is a great attitude, and can I get a what? Thank you. It's a great attitude and an alignment of values. Those are things that can't be taught. So there's some really interesting research done by two psychologists, Gregory Walton and Jeffrey Cohen, and it's on social belonging. And when people feel like they belong, there is really, really, really impactful benefits. So most specifically, whenever people have a sense of belonging, they feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves, they're more likely to persist and persevere, even if it's an impossible task. But if someone feels just the slightest bit excluded, they're more likely to give up. So belonging matters. So I encourage you as a leader, don't hire for a skill set, hire for a mindset. It's not really about what people can do, it's about their heart. So instead of poring over resumes and instead of looking at experience, sit down, talk with a person. Can they be themselves in my organization? Do I like them? Is their personality authentic? Are they aligned with the core mission of our organization, and would they be happy here? And that is the best way, more effective way to create belonging and lead your organization. The second mistake a lot of leaders make is after they have their team together, right? So they try to create some structure around the talent that they have, and they start to say, okay, who's gonna be my MVP? Who's my weak link? You know, if you're in a corporation, you rank your top 10% versus your vital 80 versus your bottom 10%. And if you're on a sports team, you say, okay, we've got the first string, the second string, we've got the bench players, you know? Well, that's not my style. I like to treat everyone like the MVP. Everybody is a champion. Everybody's a champion. High standards for all people. At Grit Fitness, every single instructor is expected to have a full class and be full of energy. Every single client who comes through the door is expected to try to do push-ups on your toes without putting your knees on the ground. Everyone has to be on time. Everyone has to smile and greet their neighbor, even if you had a really bad day at work, because high expectations are the standard. The standards stay high for everyone. And there's really interesting research also about expectancy effects. And this is done by another psychologist. His name is Robert Rosenthal. And what he did, to put it very simply, he got a group of teachers and he got a group of students and he put them together in this study. Now, the teachers were going to teach the students over a period of time, but before the teachers started teaching the students, he went and told the teachers that some students were gifted. Now, these students were not gifted, he just randomly picked them, and he told the teachers that these students were gifted. And what's so fascinating is that at the end of the study, the students who were identified as gifted actually performed higher and achieved more than all of the other students. So the teacher's expectations of the student actually predicted the student's outcome. It was a self-fulfilling prophecy. So what does that tell us whenever we identify someone as a second string player? It tells us that we are sabotaging them and depriving them of living up to their full potential. So I like to say, no second string. Everybody is the MVP and everyone's held to the highest standards. And you know what? Having high expectations for someone is the most authentic way that you can tell someone you believe in them. Because what a lot of leaders do is they think they're being nice and they think they're being a good leader by, lowering the bar or helping out a low performer if they're not meeting expectations or softening the blow when people don't miss the mark. But really what you're doing, you're disempowering someone to the core of who they are, because really what you're saying is, I don't think you're capable. That's what you're saying. So you keep the bar high for everyone and you never establish a second string. Go against the grain. So we talked about putting a team together. We've talked about keeping the expectations high. Last but not least, we'll talk about culture, everyone's favorite thing. Everyone loves to use culture as a buzzword these days. We're all about community, we're all about culture. Well, what does that even mean, right? What does that mean? So for most organizations, they do what best practices tell them to do. They create a mission statement, they create core values, they create a training, they print the mission statement and the values and post them on a wall. Then they pay for an expensive training session and tell everyone to go in and learn all these values. And all that stuff is great, but it doesn't really impact culture. There's only one thing that can impact culture, only one thing. And that's the day-to-day behavior of the leader. The way I act, the way I treat people, the standards I hold myself to, the example that I set for other people. That's the only thing that can impact culture. I'll tell you a story, and it has to do with these tank tops, and these don't seem like they're very significant, but in the Grit fam, which is our Grit Fitness community, they're a really big deal, because at Grit Fitness, you can't purchase any of our apparel. We don't want your money, we want your heart. So if you want a grit tank top of any style, you have to earn it. And so every other month, we host a challenge for our members, and they can earn a tank top. And in the month of March, there was a really popular tank top that everyone wanted, but the challenge was intensified. You had to take 20 fitness classes in the month of March to get the tank top. So me, as the leader of the organization, there's no expectation for me to really participate, but I wanted to challenge myself, and see if I could do this. Even though I teach 6 classes a week, I figured, you know what, I'll go all in and I'll try to do this. So month of March, 6 classes a week on my regular schedule, plus an extra 20 classes a week. It was tough, but you know what? I did it. I earned my tank top. Strongest women in Dallas is what it says. And it was so incredible what happened that month. Not only did we have record attendance, not only was the enthusiasm through the roof, but over 170 members, over 170 people took 20 classes in 1 month and earned a tank top. I had to order extras just so everyone could get one. It was incredible. And so that's what's really cool from a numbers perspective. But from my perspective, what was really eye-opening was my members sent me messages. They sent me DMs on my Instagram. And they were rooting for me all throughout the month. They were like, you only have a few classes left, you can do it. They were encouraging me. And I was not the inspirer, I was being inspired. And they say great leaders don't lead followers, they lead leaders. And that's exactly what happened in the month of March. It was an incredible experience. So I leave you with this, don't talk about it. Be about it. My favorite thing to say in a fitness class, and also my favorite thing to say when it comes to changing culture. If you want to change culture, change your behaviors. Because when you talk and walk in an aligned way, you earn respect and you earn trust. And ultimately, all of these unconventional approaches to leadership are just about building trust. Because when people trust you and when they trust themselves, they lay it all out there. They give you their best. They'll make a fool of themselves, they'll be vulnerable, they give everything that they want and everything that they have. And it's only when someone has nothing left that there is room for a miracle to happen. So be a misfit, go against the grain, look for a mindset instead of a skill set so that people know that they're believed in. Keep the standards high for everyone so that they know that they belong and that you believe in them, and lead by example so that people can trust you. And if you do these things, you might be a misfit, but you'll likely see miraculous things in your organization. Thank you very much.